What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Today I'm going to be reviewing and ranking Mott the Hoople's studio albums. How do we get to Mott the Hoople from Frank Zappa? Well, a certain Ainsley Dunbar played drums for Frank and for one of Ian Hunter's solo albums. And Ian Hunter is the frontman, lead singer, the personality, the charisma, the sunglasses behind Mott the Hoople. Along with, I guess the other big main force in Mott the Hoople would be Mick Ralphs, who went on to form, that's always, why does his name always bother me? Mick Ralphs, who went on to form a Bad Company. And Dunbar played in one of Ian Hunter's. Plus, they also have the David Bowie connection in that Frank lost a really loved guitar player to Bowie, and it bothered him so much that he had to change the lyrics to Yo Mama to reference Going to Play with Your David. And then David Bowie gave Mott the Hoople the song that changed their entire arc of their career. That's it. Weird band. Kind of couldn't figure out who they were, their first several albums. Then once Bowie came along and gave them that song, all the young dudes, they kind of figured out who they were. I think that also helped bring sort of Ian Hunter's personality and charisma and charm, and just, I think he then gained more confidence, became that awesome version of who he is. I read somewhere in a review of Mott the Hoople years ago, and this has always stuck with me, that like they have 1, 2, maybe 3 albums that are so good, or at least have moments on there that are so good that if you really, really enjoy those moments as I do, you're willing to overlook the inconsistencies in the rest of their catalog, and you're willing to just embrace the band, even though they kind of were wildly inconsistent. Their first 3 albums are Stone wannabes, or Marshall Tucker country rock wannabes, or Neil Young singer-songwriter wannabes. And then they finally get that glam rock thing going, and it works really well for them. Then the band breaks up, and it looks like Ian Hunter would continue to play to this day. But anyways, and then Bad Company would come into existence. But I'm one of those people who think those handful of greatness just makes me want to love them all the more, even though they're a wildly inconsistent band. That's it. All right, I'm going to do them. I'm going to do all the albums, including the ones after Ian left, and they called themselves Mott. Just cause, might as well get those out of the way and address those. But anyways, I'm going to go through them one by one. I'll put the list on the screen at the end, and then you tell me yours if you've ever listened to Mott the Hoople. Interested to see what kind of Mott the Hoople love is out there, if there is any at all. All right, on to number 9, right? There's 9 total. I don't even forget how many there are. On to number 9 and number 8. And number 9 and 8 are the 2 albums they did once Ian Hunter was no longer in the band and Mick Ralphs was no longer in the band, and other people took over in singing and songwriting. The second one is better than the first. Shouting and Pointing is the second one. They're both kind of generic 70s rock. There are some good riffs on each one of them, but the kind of singing, the actual songs themselves just are underwhelming and kind of forgettable. They both have good energy. Like, the band's trying to be good. Like, that's not the problem. It's just, it just doesn't work. The ballads, for the most part, are painful. The harder, rockier moments fare a little bit better than the other stuff. I think the second one just has a little more fun energy, a little more upbeat. And a lot of them will start off really well. Like, there's some good, like on the second one, Storm has a good Deep Purple vibe going, but then they kind of will switch gears after like a 20-second intro and go into something maybe a little more 50s rockish or 60s rockish or 70s generic rockish. So yeah, I mean, I really, really like Ian Hunter. I love his sort of charisma and his whole thing. These albums I don't ever listen to, but you got to check them out if you're a Mott the Hoople fan. Just in call. And they're not called Mott the Hoople now, they're called Mott. So technically they're not even Mott the Hoople albums, but I wanted to address them. I don't think they're worth the time. There's a couple interesting moments, but I don't know. They were lost at this point. Kind of didn't know who they were. But that's number 9 and number 8. Number 7 is their third album, Wildlife. This is when they kind of go Marshall Tucker, country rock, Allman Brothers light, Neil Young, his kind of country rockishness from the early half of the 70s, but a light version of that. Uh, Both Ralphs and Hunter switch vocals. I think anytime Ian Hunter is singing, his charisma, his personality, the way he sings, the sound of his voice immediately lift up a song and make me a little more invested in it just because there's some kind of draw in his voice, some kind of raw emotion, some kind of like, I don't know, there's something in Ian Hunter's voice that I think is very, very attractive. Mick Ralph's is just kind of generic and so brings kind of just a genericness. He can sing, but I don't think he has that whatever it is that Ian Hunter has. Some good songs on here. Whiskey Women is kind of a good light 70s rocker. Angel of 8th Avenue sounds exactly like a song with that title would sound like, but Hunter's on vocals, so it kind of helps. We get some more, some Marshall Tucker type stuff in Wrong Side of the River. We get some ballady type stuff that's not that good. Second half of the album gets better. Original Mixed Up Kid is a really nice sort of Dr. Hook, country rock, Ian Hunter type thing. Home is Where I Want to Be. Very upbeat Marshall Tucker vibe. That's probably maybe one of the stronger songs on here. And then it ends up with this Keep on Knocking, this live rock medley that just doesn't fit the rest of the album. Just seems thrown on for filler. It's like 10 minutes of they do I Got a Woman by Charles, What I'd Say, whole lot of shaking going on. It kind of doesn't work. Yeah. So, I don't know, it's just kind of added on. A weird little album. It's got a couple moments of brilliance that shine through. But yeah, my number 7, Wildlife. Number 6 is Mad Shadows, their second album, which came out in 1970. This one is just kind of depressing and one of their darker, more, I guess, somber outings. Still got some uplifting Mott the Hoople type energy. Got a couple good rockers in there, but overall there's a weird vibe about this one. But some of it works really well. Threads of Iron is a song that's on here. It's like one of the last songs towards the end. That's got a really nice, almost like pop Doobie Brothers vibe. Really nice kind of beautiful jam at the end that works. The second half of it kind of just loosens up and kind of unravels for a while. That's a pretty good song. The closing, When My Mind's Gone, is a nice ballad. One of the things they do really well is they have that sort of, I don't think they do it as well as the Scorpions do, the power ballad, but they have their 70s version of the power ballad where things start off like on piano or nice and simple and acoustic, and then we get like this swelling emotional chorus or an emotional bridge, and we usually will bring it back down. And Ian Hunter can do those things because the emotion in his voice and just the character that he is, I think sells those things. We get a number of those things on here. When we got that ballad, like No with the second song, kind of starts off piano keys ballad and builds to like an emotional rocker. So we get that throughout this. Got some hardcore Stone stuff on here. Even in the song Walking with a Mountain, I think they straight up go into Jumpin' Jack Flash at the end of it, and you just get a straight up Jumpin' Jack Flash reference. Wearing the Stones on their sleeve early on this one and their first debut album, which I haven't talked about yet. But yeah, it's an interesting album, a little bit murkier, darker, more like just muddled, kind of confused, but at the same time, there's something a little bit interesting in some of those things. But yeah, that would be my number 6, right? No, yeah, my number 6, Mad Shadows. Number 5 is Mott the Hoople, their debut album from 1969. Surprisingly strong album, I would say. That they kind of lost their way. I mean, I think if they had maybe stuck with whatever weird template they're working with here, their next 2 albums could have been a little bit better. But yeah, there's it's got some really all over the place energy, but it kind of all works. It opens up with an instrumental cover of You Really Got Me by the Kinks, which I think is pretty interesting. We get a little At the Crossroads, a cover of the Doug Sam song that kind of sounds like a little Grateful Dead Jack Straw energy. Maybe a little Looks Like Rain beginning with that guitar playing, or some little black-throated wind guitar in there that's pretty nice. Has the line, "You can't live in Texas if you don't have a lot of soul." I know it's a cover. I know Doug Sam said that originally, but I've lived in Texas for half my life now, and you can live in Texas without a lot of soul, because there's a lot of people here who do. Oh, by the way, we're under a tornado watch. Not a warning, a watch. So if things go crazy, tornadoes might be happening. We get a cover of Sonny Bono's "Laugh at Me." And then we start getting, we get our first Ian Hunter track, track 4, "Backsliding Fearlessly," which has a straight up Bob Dylan waltzy vibe. Feels like a Bob Dylan waltz song. And then the second side, we start getting a little bit of the weirdness that I like about Mott the Hoople. "Rock and Roll Queen," which is just like a good, fun rocker, kind of jams itself from an average song into a great song. "Rabbit Foot and Toby Time," which is this really nice instrumental jam that goes into "Half Moon Bay." "Half Moon Bay" is this long, 10-minute, kind of proggy, piano indulgent, little solo thing, some awesome organ. It gets kind of creepy for a while. One of those ambitious late 60s type tracks that almost every band has to attempt. And then we close out with "Wrath and Roll," which is just like a rocking climactic ending. Not the world's greatest album, but pretty entertaining, kind of showing what would make this band really good for the next 4 albums I'm going to talk about. But a good start. They just kind of lost their way on the next 2 albums, but their debut is an interesting little slice of Mott the Hoople. Yeah, that would be my number 5. On to number 4. Number 4 is their 7th studio album, The Hoople. This came out in 1974. Mick Ralphs had left the band. Ian Hunter, this is his last. Essentially Mott the Hoople's last, since they would go to Mott after this. Ariel Bender takes the place of Mick Ralphs. This album is them at their most sort of campy, indulgent, at times silly. Apparently there was like bad blood, or things were going wrong when they didn't get along, or Mick Ralphs left the band. I think it's a great album. I think it's kind of eclectic. It's fun. It's loose. It's free. It's got some good energy. Golden age of rock and roll. Nice, fun opener. Feels like an opener. Feels like they're putting together an album. Roll Away the Stone, the last album, is this hard rocker. Feels like a closer. Album very much has this sort of cohesion to it. Marionette Ian is gloriously over the top on this in his vocal delivery. It's got some horns. It's campy, glam indulgence. Love it. Alice, phenomenal song. Great sort of piano-driven rocker about a prostitute that he's trying to help out. So much swag in the vocals, so much attitude, so much Ian Hunter being Ian Hunter. Crash Street Kids is a nice Stonesy rocker. Born late 58, has a really nice opening tight taut riff, goes into some nice 70s glam rock and roll. We get a tender ballad in Trudy's song. Pearl and Roy has this sort of woozy kind of party vibe about it. What I write? Woozy party vibe. Yeah, some really great guitar. Another one that's just indulgent, that's playful, that has some good energy. Through the Looking Glass is one of those, it's like ballad, loud ballad, one of those dynamic ones where Hunter is just giving it his all, and just the vocals just lift this to the next level. And then Roll Away the Stone ends with a rocker. Yeah, fun ride, good stuff, nice glam rock. Hunter is just like, I'm going out swinging best. Really fun, good listen. That would be my number 4, The Hoople. Number 3 is Brain Capers, their 4th album. This came out in 1971. Just really strong album with some absolutely classic songs. Opens up with Death May Be Your Santa Claus, which just has this awesome sort of like Deep Purple doing glam rock sort of mashup type blend. Just some great energy, awesome organ sound, fantastic. Your Own Backyard, we get some ballad, again, that start off simple, build the emotion type ballad. Darkness, a Jesse Colin Young cover. Nice rolling drums, some really good drum energy in here, kind of jammy, a little bit heavier, some good guitar energy. Then we get the epic The Journey, this 9-minute song that is like piano ballady, and then you get some momentum, and then you get some nice organ work, you get a nice closing guitar solo, you get this really nice sort of repetitive, indulgent ending that fades out. And then the very last song on side 2, The Wheel of the Quivering Meat Conception, we fade back in and we finish the song, The Journey. So it fades out and you're like, what, why, what? And then you get what the fade out would have not faded out from to whatever at the end of side B. I thought that was pretty interesting. I've heard reprises. I've heard them come back to a song before on albums, not Mott the Hoople, but other bands. But this one actually just, we get the rest of the song on the end of side B. Kind of interesting choice. We get Sweet Angeline, which is just an awesome, very awesome Hunter vibe strong, kind of upbeat, emotional rocker, great energy, absolutely fantastic. Second Love, we get more of a ballad, building the energy. And then The Moon Upstairs, kind of a heavier one. Awesome Hunter performance. Great song, just really, really great song. Yeah. Some absolutely fantastic songs on here, some good energy, some great performances. Like they're figuring out who they were. You can see what Bowie saw in them, because then Bowie would bring a song to them and say, hey, why don't you sing this song? And their careers would be changed. And that song is on album number 2. So this is a great one, but let's get on to number 2. Number 2 is their 5th album, produced by David Bowie, All the Young Dudes. That just opening guitar riff on All the Young Dudes. Yeah, this album, this is their rocker album, their Stones rocker album, where they're channeling that Stones energy and dropping a bunch of rockers. David Bowie convinced them to cover Lou Reed's Sweet Jane. Sweet Jane opens this album. Good choice. They kind of mess with the chorus a little bit to give it their own flavor, but I think Ian Hunter is the perfect lyricist, the perfect vocalist to deliver the vocals on this song. Nice guitar energy by Ralphs. Good choice. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. Mama's Little Jewel follows. Nice little rocker. That gets cut off. And they go right into, there's like this little studio edit, and then they go right into All the Young Dudes, which I'm all about All the Young Dudes. I think that's a fantastic song. I love the lyrics. I love the attitude Hunter brings in. It just absolutely perfect. We get Sucker, a nice funky glam rocker. We get Jerk and Crocus, a nice Stonesy rocker, kind of a start me up type opening riff, honky tonk women type riff. Really nice organ sound, really nice Ralphs playing. Ralphs is really good on this. I think some of Ralph's best guitar playing is definitely being dropped on this album. Side 2, we get One of the Boys, which is another kind of patiently developing rocker, but goes into some nice Stones energy, really nice rhythm guitar work. Soft Ground, we get this really nice organ drenched, sort of just steady rocker with some nice organ energy. And then we get one of the most interesting things on here, Ready for Love, their version of Ready for Love, the Bad Company song. A little bit heavier. I think the main riff is a little more pronounced. It's looser, it's jammier, it just feels a little more like not as tightly wound, and sort of Bad Company to me is just like a no frills rock band. Like they're never doing anything more than they absolutely have to do to get their message across. It's a little weird at first without Paul Rodgers' voice, but I think Ian Hunter does a good job. And then it goes into this coda called Afterlights, which is just really nice instrumental, really tasty, really good. And I think this 7 minutes of music is what I don't like about Bad Company, is their lack of just like indulgence in things, like tacking on this instrumental coda to the end of Ready for Love. And I think had they done more of that, I think maybe they'd have more to offer. But anyways, yeah, just off on a side tangent. And then just an awesome cheesy ballad, Sea Diver, to close out. That's just Ian Hunter doing his best thing. Yeah, Greg, good album. Like, I think maybe it and Brain Capers are maybe neck and neck, but I gotta bump this up because of All the Young Dudes, because I really, really do love that song and think that's a great song. But yeah, that's my number 2, All the Young Dudes. And my number one, pretty much the reason I wanted to make this video was hopefully somebody would go check out this album because of this and fall in love with a great, great, great album. That's Mott. This came out in 1973. It's their sixth. It's just from start to finish, just classic Ian Hunter, classic Mott the Hoople. Ralph sounds great. Everybody sounds great. Opens up with All the Way from Memphis. Just awesome piano-driven rocker about losing his axe, his guitar, having to chase it down, about life on the road. It's just, it's got personality. It's got drive. It's got a sax solo that's crazy. It's just, it is a perfect, perfect opening song. That goes into Whiz Kid, this nice sort of Zeppelin as a glam rocker. Zeppelin meets David Bowie kind of chugging rocker. Just awesome, awesome stuff. Hymn for the Dudes, kind of bringing it down a little bit. We're getting that acoustic ballad thing, but Hunter is just, he's just in his preaching mode. He's just like, you just want to hear him sing. You just want to hear Hunter go. We get Honolulu Boogie, which is kind of their, David Bowie wrote All the Young Dudes. This is kind of their version of All the Young Dudes with just this amazing, amazing guitar melody that's so catchy. And just everything about this is just, it's a fun, loose, glam little pop song. And then we get Violence, Violence, another chugging riff. This might be the Zepp one. I'm mixing up those two riffs. But this Violence has this great sort of Zeppelin glam rock type thing. The ending starts to get more violent and chaotic and leads into like the actual title of the song. Works really well. Hunter starts yelling and going crazy. Yeah, just perfect side A. Side B starts off with Driving Sister, which is kind of a Bowie-esque rocker. Nice sort of really brief little part in the middle where things get kind of calm and airy and peaceful, and it's really short, but it's kind of really effective and helps the song. Then we get the Ballad of Mott the Hoople, parentheses 26 March 1972 Zurich. It's about Mott the Hoople. Like, we're name dropping people's names. We get a reference to the shades that he's always wearing, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's just, it is Ian Hunter at his most personable, at his best, at his charismatic. Like, he has figured out who he is as a lead singer, as a front man, and this is him doing that. Just so good. The next song is I'm a Cadillac into El Camino Doloroso, which is this nice, awesome, has this awesome hard rocker with his opening riff to start off. Some really great guitar glam energy. And then the second half of this is like this acoustic, sort of chilly, groovy vibe. Electric guitar comes in at the end, but kind of, you know, a tale of two parts. But a nice, 7.5 minutes of just rocker into more of acoustic, peaceful type energy. Kind of what they did on the previous album with Ready for Love into that other song, Afterlights. They do that here with this, but I think this one is maybe a little more effective overall. And then the fantastic, awesome acoustic pop of I Wish I Was Your Mother, which is just such a classic Hunter. Just the title, the lyrics. It's Ian Hunter kind of calmly preaching what he does, doing his thing. Yeah, a little bit of Dylan seeping in there. But yeah, just a really fun way to end what is a really, really strong, great album. If you only check out one Mott the Hoople album, don't check out All the Young Dudes. Get this one. This is the one to get. This album, everybody needs to own this album. It's fun, glam rock, Ian Hunter, Mick Rouse at their best. My number one, Mott. That's what they look like in writing. Those top four are the ones I would check out that I think are really good, that have moments in which the band just sounds like what I wish they would always sound like, and I wish they had a longer career and did more. But yeah, those top four, the Hoople, Brain Capers, All the Young Dudes, and especially Mott. Mott is a really good album. But yeah, that's all I got. If anybody out there has checked out Mott the Hoople or listens to Mott the Hoople or has an opinion on Mott the Hoople or goes and listen to them, go listen to Mott. Let me know what you think. It's a great album. Ian Hunter's fantastic. All right, that's all I got. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. Thanks for watching. We got a tornado coming apparently in like 45 minutes, or at least really, really bad weather is on its way. So we're going to hunker down, try to make it through this and see what happens. All right. Yeah, that's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.